What A'ja Wilson just did was unprecedented. I mean, on so many levels. She's arguably, allegedly, the reason Caitlin Clark was assaulted the entire 2024 basketball season in the W. I mean, what A'ja Wilson just did is really like there's no coming back from this.
A'ja Wilson's carefully crafted, positive vibes-only image has taken a hit, revealing a clear double standard. For months, she played the role of the calm, experienced veteran while her fans criticized Caitlin Clark over the Nike signature shoe controversy. But during her long-anticipated shoe reveal, Wilson casually admitted something surprising: she had been working on her own Nike signature deal for 2 years. Meanwhile, her supporters had been accusing Nike of disrespect and calling Clark an unworthy rookie. Wilson stayed silent the entire time, securing her deal without addressing the controversy. This revelation raises important questions about athlete branding, fairness, and transparency in the competitive sports industry.
Wilson was oddly silent, but complicit. All right, why was she complicit? Because, well, she knew she was getting a signature shoe for 2 years, and she let Caitlin Clark take all that.
Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. When Nike announced Caitlin Clark would get a signature shoe, social media went into a frenzy. Fans couldn't believe she was chosen before A'ja Wilson, and the debate took off. Wilson, however, stayed calm and cryptic, tweeting subtly about respect while the chaos unfolded. She let the conversation build, never stepping in to set the record straight. Instead, she watched as the narrative took shape, fully aware of the discussions happening around her. Remember when she finally weighed in?
A'ja Wilson is her name. Quote, "Doesn't matter what we all do as black women, we're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because..."
Roles were reversed and Caitlin Clark had been quietly securing a shoe deal for 2 years while A'ja Wilson faced unfair criticism. The backlash would be massive. The media would be flooded with articles, and analysts would tear her apart. But when Wilson stays silent, it's brushed off with laughs and called humility. Let's call it what it is: this wasn't humility, it was calculated. She let Clark take all the heat while benefiting from a sympathy narrative built on false assumptions. The double standard is clear, and it speaks volumes about the complexities of the situation.
Do you have any ideas what you would want your future sneaker to look like?
I think the biggest thing for me is just I would love a low-top shoe. I play in a low-top shoe, so that's something that I would love to have carry over, and something that looks good. That's so key to.
The truth is, A'ja Wilson could have ended this entire controversy with a single tweet, something as simple as, "My time is coming, don't worry about me." That alone would have calmed the outrage and stopped the attacks. But she stayed silent because it worked in her favor. By saying nothing, she allowed her fanbase and much of the WNBA media to paint Caitlin Clark as the villain, the rookie who didn't deserve the spotlight. Meanwhile, Wilson positioned herself as the overlooked underdog. It wasn't just silence, it was strategy. She let the narrative play out while others took the heat.
A'ja Wilson. Who? Why? Yeah, she's some WNBA player. Who? No, she's one of the all-time greatest players.
Now that the truth is out, those who were outraged at Nike are scrambling to rewrite history. But here's the real twist: the so-called disrespect never came from Nike. It came from A'ja Wilson and her inner circle, who allowed a false narrative to spiral unchecked. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, who has brought millions of new fans to the league, has faced relentless criticism both on the court and online, even from WNBA players and legends. Yet, despite all the negativity, she stayed focused, letting her game do the talking. In the middle of all this drama, one thing is clear: Clark's resilience stands out.
And these WNBA fans that did not want to see Caitlin Clark come in and do what she did, which was dominate the league. Led the league in assists as a rookie. After the season, I think I counted, she broke something in the neighborhood of 63 records last year. Either rookie records or just flat records by anybody, not even a rookie. And all these fans have been mad. And all the while, A'ja Wilson sat back and was just plenty happy to play the victim. She could have come out and made some kind of a statement that would have called off the dogs. Nah, she didn't.
Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson, who could have cleared things up at any time, chose to stay silent. And that silence spoke volumes. It signaled to her fanbase that their assumptions were valid, allowing the belief that she was overlooked to spread unchecked. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark took the backlash. This whole situation is frustrating, not just because of the shoe debate, but because of how Clark has been treated from the start. Instead of being embraced as the generational talent she is, she's faced jealousy and resistance. Not because of anything she's done wrong, but because she's elevated the league's visibility at an unprecedented pace. Her impact is undeniable, yet instead of celebrating her achievements, many have tried to tear her down. Wilson had the chance to be a unifying voice, a role model for fairness, but instead, she chose to prioritize vibes over values. And that decision has shaped the entire narrative, overshadowing the recognition Clark rightfully deserves. How could they give Caitlin a shoe before Aya? The real question is, why was that even a debate in the first place?
How could they give Caitlin a shoe before they give Asia one? Oh, how could they do this? How could they treat Asia like this? Two-time MVP at the time, just before she even won the damn third one. They is wrong for doing this.
Let's not act like the timing of that Super Bowl ad was just a coincidence. Nike rolled out a major campaign celebrating female athletes, but somehow, they left out the most influential woman in basketball, Caitlin Clark. Her jersey sales shattered records. Her games dominated TV ratings. She brought an entirely new audience to the WNBA. Yet, despite her undeniable impact, she was nowhere to be found in the campaign. It's hard to ignore what this suggests. Was she deliberately sidelined to keep her out of the spotlight a little longer?
I'm selling greatness! Asia Wilson, 3-time MVP. We got Jordan Childs, we got Juju Watkins, we got Sha'Carri Richardson, and we got Arena Sabalenka.
Champion.
Hustling is not easy, but I love it. Sabrina, I know you want to cheat. Thinking about it? You're thinking about it. They're gonna go fast, kind of like Sha'Carri. I accept card. Where's the card? Come on.
Oh wait, but what's in that box?
These don't come out till March. They may or may not be shirts, but if I tell you, I'm gonna have to kill you. Oh, you want one of these? Nike.com. Who wants it?
Nike really thought they could slip that last-minute voiceover past everyone, but fans aren't that easily fooled. People caught it right away. This wasn't some simple editing mistake, it was intentional. That awkward voiceover sent a clear message: Nike values the revenue Caitlin Clark brings in, but they'd rather keep her out of the spotlight. Subtle? Not even close.
My favorite thing of all. So let's take a listen to this. Nike actually put this one out after the fact.
You want to know what I'm selling? Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tee.
Okay.
Nike.com.
They re-recorded it. Like, that's not even, I mean that. That's like, listen.
How does that even make sense? We're talking about Caitlin Clark, the player who isn't just moving the needle, she is the needle. She's packing arenas like an NBA star, skyrocketing TV ratings, and reshaping women's basketball as we know it. And yet, the WNBA and its biggest names treat her like she's just another player. They're more than happy to cash in on the momentum she's created, but when it comes to actually acknowledging her impact, silence. At this point, it feels less like an oversight and more like a deliberate choice, maybe even a little resentment.
Not looking good for Nike yet again, dog. I don't even know how many videos I'm gonna make today about Nike, but it looked like Nike is definitely the star of the day. All started with the Super Bowl commercial, them snubbing Caitlin, them putting Caitlin in, them fixing the commercial, them dropping Asia's shoe. Now, come to find out, Asia Wilson has single-handedly killed the WNBA media credibility forever. Yes. Oh my goodness. These women was lying. Oh God almighty. They made such a big deal over Caitlin Clark getting a shoe deal over Asia.
Let's be real, Caitlin Clark should be the face of every WNBA campaign, endorsement deal, and highlight reel. But instead of fully embracing her success, the league seems to merely tolerate her, as if she's an outsider who showed up uninvited and ended up stealing the show. And it's not just the executives or marketing teams giving her the cold shoulder, it's coming from top players too. Enter Aya Wilson. She hasn't been openly hostile, hasn't tweeted anything negative, and hasn't started a public feud. But when her fanbase relentlessly attacked Clark after the Nike deal, questioning her worth and even her place in the league, Wilson stayed silent. She could have stepped in, could have shut down the toxicity, but instead, she sat back and let the storm rage on. That silence wasn't neutrality, it was strategy. And it speaks volumes about the league's inner politics and the subtle hostility toward rising stars who shake up the status quo.
Cheryl Swoops made news. Now, she made news last week when she sat up there and was applauding Indiana Fever players, but then forgot to mention Caitlin Clark. She jumped all in my ass because I sat up there and said, hey, how you going to ignore Caitlin Clark? You know what she brings to the table. How you just...
Aya Wilson expertly played the underdog role while Caitlin Clark was painted as the so-called golden child who didn't deserve the spotlight. But here's the twist, Wilson had been working on her Nike shoe deal for 2 years, long before the controversy even started. While Clark faced criticism for landing her sneaker deal, Wilson remained silent, fully aware that her own shoes were already in the works. A simple acknowledgement of this could have shut down the backlash, but she chose not to step in. By letting Clark take the heat, Wilson fueled sympathy for herself. Now that her own shoes have finally been revealed, the truth is out. But don't expect apologies from those who cried foul. The critics who were once outraged have suddenly gone quiet, proof of just how quickly opinions shift when the facts come to light.
On this was quite significant. Everybody was calling out, why are you not marketing your most marketable player? And I cannot disagree, because Nike, why? Your stock is going down. Do you realize that Caitlin Clark's jersey sold out right after she was drafted, with an increase in over 1,000% reported for the Indiana?
Every hard foul Caitlin Clark takes, every missed call, and every insult hurled her way isn't just about her opponents, it points to a deeper issue within the league itself. Veteran players like Aya Wilson have the influence to ease this tension, yet they choose silence. Now, imagine if the roles were reversed, if Clark's fanbase went after Wilson the way Wilson's supporters have attacked Clark. The outrage would be immediate. Sports media would flood the scene with think pieces, and social media would explode. But when Clark is the one under fire, the response is nothing more than a collective shrug. Meanwhile, Wilson is thriving, rocking her new sneakers, doing high-profile photo shoots, and enjoying her endorsements. She absolutely deserves her success, but her silence speaks volumes. The months of outrage over Clark's sneaker deal? Manufactured. The claims of disrespect? Misleading. Aya was never overlooked. She just played the game better, letting the rookie take the hits while she quietly built her own brand, soaking up the sympathy all the way to her own shoe launch.
The press tour has officially took off running. We got A'ja Wilson talking about, oh, I've been waiting 2 years for this. Wait, 2 years for this? 2 years for this, 2025, 2023, CC's announced in 2024. Delayed, not denied in 2024. Backlash all 2024. I've been waiting 2 years for this. And then we got Cheryl Swoops. There it is. Swoops. There it is. Cheryl Swoops couldn't help but embarrass her.
Imagine if the roles were reversed, if Caitlin Clark had been the first to land a signature sneaker deal. The internet would have exploded with outrage. Critics would have questioned her worthiness, and debates over respecting the legends would dominate the conversation. Take Cheryl Swoops, for example, she's always quick to weigh in. If Wilson got her shoe second, Swoops would be celebrating it like a national holiday. Yet, when it comes to Clark, she often throws subtle digs instead of support. When Wilson achieves something, it's historic. But when Clark finds success, it's dismissed as hype. The double standard couldn't be clearer.
I feel so lucky to be a part of the Nike basketball family for more than 30 years now. And I love to see how the brand continues to champion women's basketball and athletes who play it. I didn't text A'ja. I didn't call A'ja. I'm talking like you're not here right now.
No one is denying that Aya Wilson earned her success. She's undeniably a superstar. But the double standard is glaring. When Caitlin Clark shines, it's called favoritism. When Wilson excels, it's hard work. Wilson's unbothered persona starts to crack when you look at how carefully she has managed her silence. She hasn't been a victim of marketing oversights, she has shaped the narrative to her advantage. Meanwhile, Clark is single-handedly carrying the league. She puts up big numbers, sells out arenas, and keeps the WNBA in the headlines for all the right reasons. Clark never asked for this controversy, never stole anyone's moment, she simply showed up and delivered. Yet instead of being celebrated, she's been treated like a problem. This goes far beyond a sneaker deal. From the moment she stepped into the league, she's faced elbows, cheap shots, and subtle jabs. Social media mobs have branded her public enemy #1 for nothing more than being the face of the game. And despite drawing record crowds, boosting viewership, and elevating women's basketball to new heights, she still hasn't been embraced the way she deserves.
We say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5
crazy.
5.6
those
turnovers,
hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Yeah, it's only not dominating because she's a rookie. Now,
because
if she's putting up numbers like Asia right now, would she be dominating? Yes.
Whether she realizes it or not, Aya Wilson has become part of the old guard, a group of veterans seemingly more invested in downplaying Caitlin Clark's impact than celebrating it. The criticism isn't always direct. Sometimes, it's a side eye, a passive-aggressive comment, or even a well-timed like on a shady tweet. But perhaps the worst offense is the silence, the kind that allows smear campaigns to spread unchecked. The thing is, Clark doesn't need anyone's validation. She has a massive fan base, non-stop media attention, and stats that speak for themselves. No press conference required. Her signature shoe is on the way, and despite all the criticism thrown at her, she hasn't fired back. She stayed locked in, ignored the noise, and let her game do the talking. Meanwhile, Wilson is rightfully celebrating the launch of her A1 sneaker, a big moment, no doubt. But let's not rewrite history. Her journey has been supported by a league that has consistently protected and promoted her in ways Clark never experienced. The difference between their paths is striking, exposing the clear double standards shaping the narrative.
A little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you're targeted like that. How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? It's stupid. That's so dumb. It looks like a soap opera.
The Vegas empire is crumbling. Kelsey Plum has moved on, leaving a trail of shade in her wake. Chelsea Gray is still working her way back from injury. And Sydney Colson, once the emotional core of their locker room, is now in Indiana, where a new powerhouse is quietly coming together. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham. This isn't just a team, it's the foundation of something special. Indiana's front office is carefully assembling a roster built for dominance, and the rest of the league can feel the shift happening. The WNBA isn't just evolving, it's transforming. And the veterans know it. Clark isn't just the future, she's the present. That's why she's on billboards, why ticket sites crash when she plays, and why networks are scrambling to broadcast her games. She's more than an athlete, she's a cultural phenomenon. Now, the league has a choice: embrace this new era or risk getting left behind.
See it. I'm really trying here not to crash out, okay? I can't take too much more. I just said the other day, what did I say? Another bomb is Sunday. I said, this isn't it. You know, I can't wait to see what the next bomb would be. Didn't know this would be the bomb. Stephanie White ain't playing fair. I have to say it again. Stephanie White is not playing fair. She only